What was your trauma default?
I feel like I was worshiping at the altar of deprivation. I was doing a lot of pro bono work. In fact, I was working full time for free. I was connecting a lot of money with a lot of physical pain. I had been making a lot of money with my business, and I was like depleted, so much so that I couldn't breathe. And one day I ended up in the emergency room. I ended up in bed for months, like just recuperating. And it was my body literally crushed my ribs. I had 4 broken ribs from coughing.
So a lot of your money blocks came from your childhood and a super religious upbringing where money is the root of all evil. Rich people gonna burn in hell. And like your belief about not deserving money, the money that you made couldn't exceed it. So it crushed your ribs and you just started working for free and said that's service. No, that's not service.
We had that one 15-minute call to try to find out what my trauma default was. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's not going to find anything here. But all I'm interested in is if I can make that $50,000. You said, well, join my program and you'll make $50,000. And I was like, well, I'm making zero now. I said to you, can you assure me that I can make $50,000 by the end of the year? This was September. And you said yes. And I was like, okay, sign me up.
Did you make the $50,000?
My name is Christy Rutherford, and I assist leaders with earning more money and restoring their mental and physical health and relationships by finding their trauma default and reframing their past, realigning their present, and reclaiming their future.
So what was going on with you in 2023 when you first reached out to talk to us?
So I was doing a lot of pro bono work. In fact, I was working full time for free. So $0 coming in. I was feeling productive because I was doing a lot of meaningful work and working with nonprofits and doing some stuff with the city and all kinds of interesting things, but no dollars. And I was feeling stuck. Like really, I thought on the outside I was a vision of calm, but inside I was overwhelmed. It was like, I can't breathe. I can't, like, how can I be in this position? And you talk about, if you can't see it, you can't be it. I had seen it before. I knew that people could make a lot of money. In fact, I had made a lot of money with my business in the past, but I had gotten to a point where it wasn't happening for me. And so I did your 3-day seminar in the spring of 2023 because it was all about knowing your worth. And that 3-day seminar was a big revelation because I walked away realizing that I was connecting a lot of money with a lot of physical pain. So 10 years earlier, I had been making a lot of money with my business, and I had been raising 2 little kids, and I had been providing, and I had been funding my husband's business, and I was like depleted, so much so that I couldn't breathe. Like physically, I couldn't breathe. And one day I ended up in the emergency room because I literally couldn't breathe in. I ended up in bed for months, like just recuperating. And it was my body literally crushed my ribs. I had 4 broken ribs from coughing. And the pain that I was not even aware of was stopping my body from moving. So my body was literally trying to keep me from breathing. And that's when I realized, like, okay, I know that there's a different way. Like I'm working too hard at something and it's not working. I was like, okay, how do I shift that? And that's when I decided, like, I'm going to join. We had that one 15-minute call to try to find out what my trauma default was. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's not going to find anything here. But all I'm interested in is if I can make that $50,000. You said, well, join my program and you'll make $50,000. And I was like, well, I'm making zero now. I said to you, can you assure me that I can make $50,000 by the end of the year? This was September. And you said yes. And I was like, okay, sign me up.
Did you make the $50,000?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. How much did you make?
You are a truth teller. I made $54,000. I had a client who hired me for a 1-day strategy and planning seminar. And then kind of a fluky thing happened where I had been in a car accident 2 years before. And the person who hit me, their insurance sent me a $30,000 check.
Look at God. I mean,
Look at Christy.
yeah, God is my employer. So anything I do, we work in tandem together. Okay, great. So I didn't want to leave the cliffhanger for the people. I was like, did you make the money though? This is what I know for sure, Lena. Making $50,000 isn't that hard if you know who you are. I knew who you were. You didn't know. I knew your capacity. You didn't know. Yep. I knew what's possible. You didn't know. So the 3-day that you're talking about is the pay raise playbook that I just made on demand. And you didn't know that you had these money blocks until somebody started to ask you these questions. You're like, oh my God, it's me. And so, yeah, making $50,000 is easy because I knew that once you got out of the way and you could believe that you can make more money, you can get it because we get what we believe. What was your trauma default? And then where did that stem from?
I feel like I was worshiping at the altar of deprivation. Like I see that in my parents, like they not having enough. And I didn't know that, but I will say that I wanted a different life for my kids. In the conversation with my coach, Kathy Wright, she said to me one time, like we were talking about what we really wanted in life and what we really appreciated. And I was talking about my kids and what I did for my kids. And she said something to me. She said, what you're trying to do is recreate the childhood you wish you had. And I was like, no. Well, am I? Like then the next thing that she said to me was, did you have a birthday party when you turned 6? And I was like, where is she going with this? And I was like, yeah. Then I was like, no, I didn't. And that was the first time I was being punished and I didn't have a birthday party. Like that was kind of a turning point. And for me, that broke open so much of like kind of connecting me to that deprivation, like where it came from, the lack, not enough. Being a part of this program was like walking through a portal into like magic and revelation and transformation every step of the way. But every single person, like Kathy was like, she was channeling the divine, and Jennifer, like everybody has their own way of being connected to some great piece of advice.
Well, I think a large part is we're just getting you to tell the truth. And that's the hardest thing for adults. And a lot of Alina, I talk to mostly brilliant women who have the degrees and we've done the personal development and we've read the books, but we're not living the experience. We're not necessarily applying it. And so a lot of your money blocks came from your childhood and a super religious upbringing where, money is the root of all evil. It's easier for the camel to go through an eye needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Rich people go burn in hell and like all these other kind of things. And so when you actually started to make money, if your belief of how much money you can make was here, once you started to exceed that, it was so much resistance, it crushed your ribs. Your belief about not deserving money, the money that you made couldn't exceed it, so it crushed your ribs and you just started working for free and said that's service. No, that's not service. Not if you came here to break generational patterns. We're called to the women who are the generational pattern breakers for our family line, to set our families free for generations. And so we're going to be different. We're going to be the weirdos. We're going to do the thing, but we get trapped in old conditioning. So you were being trapped. So yeah, you're educated and you're brilliant and you're working and you made the money, but the old conditioning from the programming is so strong, it pulled you right back to what you used to do. And so once we made you aware of it, then you just chose a different path, i.e. be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So what are some of the things that you did, Alina? Let me show you a before picture. I got it. Why y'all be laughing? What advice do you have for this version of Alina?
I've read a lot, I've done a lot of, connected with a lot of different groups and people. And I just knew I needed something different. You're a truth teller. What you've said from the beginning, I have a recipe here and just follow the steps. Again, I thought I look all nice and calm, but like, you're like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Right? Like every day I did that for a week. And then the next steps were like clearing the mind, starting meditation. I'd never done meditation before. I do it every day now. And then filling the mind with all the good things. Like that's what then leads us to being able to do the work.
A lot of women think, oh, if I just get the money, I'll be happy. Well, you got the money and it crushed you. Like your capacity to hold what God created you, like your vessel is this big, but your capacity to be able to get it is like this big. Yeah. So you're taking a thimble down to the ocean saying, this is all I deserve. But that's not true. You're going to get what you believe that you deserve. And so the meditation and the affirmation is like rewiring what you believe to be true. Mm-hmm. Create in me, Lord, a clean heart and renew a right spirit in me so I can get my money. But if I was telling you to tap, it's like you have to come to yourself. You have to touch yourself so your mind can communicate with your body to say, I'm going to be okay. I want to talk about the applause button. What was the problem that we were trying to solve for? And then when you started applying it, what happened?
My sense is that you felt like I had maybe done my homework, but I wasn't connecting with that content, right? Like you actually have to hear the applause because you're not doing it for yourself. That's what I thought. It felt kind of silly to me at first. I kind of wanted to close the door and not let anybody else hear. And then it's really about shining your light, like being confident enough to shine your light and stepping into that power. And so exercises around affirmations and those powerful statements that trigger in your mind, that, yeah, this is what I'm here for. I know what I'm capable of, but like being out there and being comfortable with that.
We shrink and we stand behind people and do all the work. Yeah. You're always in the background. So you're the background, but you're the person who's making everything move, but nobody sees you. Mm-hmm. So when I think about where we are right now with regards to women, I'm like, the women who are silent are the ones who are being shanked. Because nobody know the woman is doing all the work. And so like you're the background. The goal was learn how to clap for yourself, because if you're performing, you're not celebrating the achievement. It's not you're afraid to shine, you're afraid to be seen. Mm-hmm. We're not allowed to celebrate our accomplishments. Nobody's going to clap when a woman achieves something. So clap for yourself. All right, buy a button and clap for yourself so you can become accustomed to self-celebrating. What are your beliefs around money now versus what they used to be?
Yeah, if I think about what they used to be, I feel like I knew that I could make money, but I feel like I was digging ditches with a pencil. Just so hard. And I think the mind shift now is I know I can provide value. I know I have clients now that will pay me a lot of money for leadership development coaching. And so they value it so much. They talk about the transformation. We work on, specific business issues. It's that shift of knowing, like, you don't have to work harder, but you have to know what your value is. You actually have to know that for yourself so that you can articulate that for others.
You set the tone for how people value you based on how you value yourself. And if you don't think that you have value, they don't think you have value. Yeah. If you're going to work for free, full time for free, they will let you. What advice do you have for women who believe that their opportunities are limited based on where we are today?
There's so much noise, and we don't have to say there's noise out there, but there's noise inside of us, right? There's all of the chaos that can happen just in our own heads, in our own families, our close circles, and then the world. And the practice of being still and being reflective and getting clear about our personal purpose and spending the time to define that, I think that makes all the difference. Like, we get to decide where we spend our energy and where we spend our headspace, but being deliberate about that is I think the most important thing. Surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be like and be, doing interesting things with. And then I would say the last thing is the story. We create our own stories, right? And we've created some stories that simply don't serve us. And so if we're serious about having a different life than we have right now, we need to create those stories and then live into them.
To wrap up what you said is living life with intention. We need to become aware of how we got stuck in the pattern and owning that as a truth without judgment, but then being intentional about how we're now going to change that. One of the things Dr. Miles Monroe said, he says, people who are walking in their destiny live very narrow lives. Because we now know where we're going, we know what won't get us there. Because we know who we want to be and where we're going, we know who won't get us there. So we become intentional about everything. Like, you listen to positive stuff. You don't listen to negative stuff to tell you what you're not going to be, because you know where you're going.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with people that are going to align with where you're going, because you know that you need other people and you can't do it alone. So you're like the loner who now had to create connections of, these people are going to get me to where I want to go. I'm so happy for you, because I remember, I like to bring up old stuff, who you used to be before the Lord touched and agreed with you. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insight with everybody today. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this marathon. Go, you want to say something?
Oh, I want to thank you, Christy, for just being you, for offering up, all of the good content and the path, showing us the path. And I'm so grateful to know you and everybody associated with your organization. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Get the Pay Raise Playbook by using the link in the description below, and get on the path to securing your financial future by remembering what you're passionate about and creating your dream career, getting paid your full value in the market. You absolutely deserve it, and you're worth it.